Hey, welcome back to the fifth episode of the Create Stuff podcast. I'm your host, Shaun Saxum, and I have a few things to say before we get started. The usual spiel. First off, thanks so much for checking it out. This was streamed live at twitch.tv/Shaun Saxum, where I record all of these interviews, well, live. And if you're there in chat, you get to ask questions of the person yourself. You'll hear some of the questions that chat asks at the end. So, yeah, you should check me out. Link is in the description. If you like the Create Stuff podcast, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. It really helps me out a ton, especially in the algorithm. And if you really want to support me, you can check out my Patreon below. Even $1 a month is so much more helpful than I could ever tell you. However, if you don't have the money, that's cool. I still appreciate you viewing it, and I could never ask for anything more from you. I also have a Discord server. Link is in the description. Go check it out. Last thing I have to say, this interview, there was a lot of participation from chat, sort of, because the chat had a lot more people in it than I usually have. So, sorry if you hear us talking to chat every once in a while. I tried to make it so that it was a very streamlined version of the interview for you with very little stuff that you would only get to see on stream in it. But still, once again, I'm sorry. Alright, last thing before I set you guys loose. The Create Stuff podcast is now available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and most other major podcast streaming platforms. If you would prefer to use one of those platforms, go check me out on there. You just look up Create Stuff Podcast, and you should be able to find me pretty easily. If you look up Shaun Saxum, that might also help, or Can You Count Bees, or any of the names of my podcast guests. It might help you find it if you can't normally. Links are also in the description. Without further ado, please enjoy the fifth episode of the Create Stuff Podcast. Welcome to the fifth episode of the Create Stuff Podcast. I'm your host, Shaun Saxum, and I am joined today by Ian Has Opinions, the director of the L'Manberg musical. Hello, Ian.
Hi.
Alright, so just to start off, could you tell us, what exactly it is you do in your own words?
Yeah, so around 9 months ago, in October of 2020, I had been making music for the Dream SMP, and I had been writing my own original songs, and I decided that I wanted to start a musical and make it a bigger project. So since then, and still now, we've been writing scripts, writing songs, recording. We have musicians, and then the big thing that everyone's all excited about is that the entire thing is partially animated, so it's in more of an animatic style, and it's on its way, set to hopefully release around late August, and that's what I've been doing with my life all day, every day, is making a musical.
Ooh, exciting. Okay, late August. I didn't realize it was coming so soon.
Me neither.
Okay, so
we're doing our best.
I'm super excited to see how it comes out. So, just for those people listening at home who may not be super familiar with the Dream SMP, what is a L'Manberg exactly?
Oh shit. Okay, so L'Manberg and the Dream SMP was still is, streamed live on Twitch. It's a bunch of Minecraft streamers, and they made nations, and they formed this entire storyline, this entire, story, really, and plot centered around what was once a nation called L'Manberg and its independence. And since then, it's grown into more and more of a story, into more characters, more character arcs, more people, and it's just grown into this huge thing that has a bunch of animatics and obviously songs and musicals, and it's it's crazy. It's huge.
It is insane, how just a single Minecraft server can reach this level of popularity and have such a complex story.
It's crazy. And
yeah, so when I asked B to explain this, when I did their episode of the podcast, the first one, they started explaining it well composed, and then they slowly just started breaking down as they explained Phil's family line and the Samsung smart fridge and the fish.
Yeah. It's all live, and while nowadays it's more scripted, it definitely started out unscripted, or just bullet points of the story and what it was going to be.
A lot of improv.
And because of that, it's a lot of stuff got mixed up, got messed up. People didn't do what they were supposed to be doing. And honestly, if you talk about what I do every day, when it comes to writing scripts and stuff, that's a lot of what we do, actually, is clean up and cut, what we can and can't have, to try to make sure that we're providing a more clear, concise storyline, since we want the musical to be accessible to anyone, regardless of whether or not they're into Dream SMP or Minecraft, or I've even heard of people like Philza or Tommy or something.
That's really cool. That's an awesome goal. Does that mean you won't be including that Philza had intercourse with a Samsung smart fridge?
You know, no. No, I will not be. But
disappointing. Dang. What's even the point?
I'm sorry if you lost
right here. Okay. Joking, of course. So, what inspired you to start directing this musical?
Well, I had posted my first video, I'll Be the Villain, and it had got a bunch of support, like a lot more than I expected at all. And then it grew, and I decided to put out Regret, which is kind of my big video, the big thing, you know, Eric saw it and all that kind of stuff. And there was a comment on that said, wouldn't it be really cool if all these bigger names in the sort of Dream SMP like fan community, like not the CCs, but like the fan creators, if they got together and made a musical, that would just be the coolest thing. And it was by a guy named Hat, who I got in contact with and who I've talked to, and he's really nice. And it sort of inspired me to start this Discord server, because I was like, I want to do that. Because, you know, this was during the throes of quarantine and COVID, and, you know, frankly, I was really depressed and all this kind of stuff, and I really just wanted something to do. And then it just kept growing and growing and growing, and it became less of a itty-bitty baby hobby and more into, like, a job, and I couldn't be more thankful for it.
That's awesome. It's super cool project.
Thank you.
So as a director, what exactly is your role? Like, what do you do in the production?
Oof. So a big part of my role is casting. Like, as of right now, a lot of my stuff is just casting and management. So if we need more artists, if we need a voice actor, if we need something, then I go and I find people. And I have a casting director, Jake, and he like finds me people and I just approve everything. A lot of my job is right now is a lot of approval, because I have an incredible production team, a bunch of producers who do their jobs insanely well, and my team is also just incredible at what they do. And so a lot of my job right now is really just, yeah, that sounds good, or nope, let me make sure I know what's going on. Because as Medio, who's actually in chat right now, had put it once on stream, I'm the big picture keeper. So I know our deadlines, I know our due dates, I know what I want the musical to be, and I just guide my incredibly talented staff into doing what needs to be done. You know, early musical stuff, I wrote almost all the songs for Act 1. There are a few notable exceptions, but almost all of them were completely written by me. So.
Okay, that's cool. It's really cool. So you said the musical is partially animated, that it's mostly made up of animatics. What does that exactly mean?
So an animatic, if you're breaking it down into like real terms, it's when you take your storyboards and edit it to get an idea of like what it's going to look like, pacing, making sure everything flows nicely. But when it comes to what we talk about, when you're talking about like animatics more on YouTube and on the internet, it essentially just means a like an animation that is not fluid. So you don't have in between frames. You don't have a lot of that. Things are a lot more choppy. It just takes essentially like the process of animating and cuts it in half, because you're just not doing that tedious work of putting in all the in between frames so that everything is smooth. You know.
Okay, so will the musical seem kind of like just be storyboards stitched together, or will there be some amount of animation and everything?
So, if you had asked me that back when I started this project, I would have told you, oh, no, it's just going to be storyboards. It's just going to be storyboards. If you, now that I've seen the actual animations played out, God, my artist team is crazy insane. And they have just decided to make it a lot cleaner. So while we're still not in any sort of realm of fluid animation, things are definitely a lot more vibrant and things move a lot cleaner than they did. And everything is full line art, full color, shading backgrounds. So it doesn't look like a storyboard by any means. The biggest thing is that the animation just isn't fluid.
Okay, interesting. So how do you get people to join this the project as like artists and actors, I suppose, voice actors?
So how that's well, I started building my itty bitty baby community just using connections, and I didn't really have many of those anyway. I started completely by myself. Like I didn't have anyone backing me up besides like my friends, but I didn't have any like content creators. Um but I started this Discord server and I used the small following that I had, like around the time I think it would have been like just over 1,000 or so. Um and I got people to reach out to other people and we sort of expanded to the point that now I just put out a Google form that says we need background artists and people apply. So then the heads of that department and myself go through and we find people that we want and we take them. For voice actors, we had a casting call club page that we pulled people from. But honestly, a lot of our stuff is just Google Forms at this point. So if you're on the community Discord server, that's where all that kind of stuff goes out. We have a tab called Join the Team, and it keeps everyone there.
Okay, that's really cool. It's really gone from you like finding people just to join just through connections to people actually having to like apply themselves and compete for the positions. That's awesome.
No, it's crazy. It's insane.
So, how competitive are the applications?
Ooh, I don't know. I think that it depends on the position that you want. You know, obviously, if you're going for a voice acting role, things are going to be a lot more competitive because it's one thing, you know, like you're all going for the same one person. When it comes to artists and stuff, there are definitely positions that are in higher demand than others. So, if you want to be a background artist, we have a higher rate of taking background artists because we need more of them. But if you, it just really depends on the position that you want. But honestly, if we like your work, we'll take you, you know, except for positions like VAs where there's only one, you know, like there is only one Carl Jacobs. Um, we are pretty good about taking anyone that we really, really like since, you know, we're here to teach and to grow and to be a community. Like we're kind of a family and I'm not one to turn someone away just because like, no, we only take 26 line artists. You'd be the 27th. Like we're not like that. So
Okay, that's awesome. It's a really cool opportunity for people to get their work out there actually and be part of like such an awesome project.
yeah, it's one of the best parts of it and something I'm really proud of is the fact that we've built such a community and that like I do genuinely believe that people have learned from it and have learned from each other. Like there be times that I'll go in there and an artist will be teaching another artist like a trick that they use or a tip, or someone will say, hey, I don't know how to draw this, or I don't know how to do this, or a musician will say, I don't understand this part of this, and they'll go and they'll help each other. And I feel like people have really learned, and that's something I'm really proud of and really happy to say that I've been able to watch.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. So, what different positions are there in the musical?
Ooh, okay, wait. Let me make sure I don't forget anyone because I'm prone to forget things. We have, well, up top we have producers, and that's not a job that you can apply for. My producers are my right hand men and women and non-binary individuals. They are all incredibly talented and they head up each department. So I have a casting, like VAs, I have artists, I have musicians, all that kind of stuff. They are the leaders and they're the ones who help me get my vision out there. And they talk to me about everything that happens. And so that's not a job that you can apply for. That's something that we see. So if you just come onto the project as an artist and we see that you are incredibly talented and well, you work well with us and you have a clear passion and drive, then, you know, we'll talk about that kind of stuff. But we have voice actors. These are the people who bring our script and our story to life. They are our actors, but it's all obviously voice acting. I'm incredibly eloquent today, but that's what they do. They have all assigned to a characters. We have the character voice actors. Those are the names that you'll recognize, like Dream, Tommy, Tubbo, all them. And then we have our chat voice actors because we've personified the chats in order to make up for the story placement that they have, because the chats vote in the election. They influence streamers. Streamers will have moments where they're just talking to their chat by themselves, and I didn't want to lose that, so we have chats and their voice actors. We have ensemble. Ensemble sings any chorus parts. They really just fill it out and make sure that we're sounding like a true stage show as opposed to just a bunch of people in their bedrooms. We have my social media team. They handle our Twitter, our Instagram, all that kind of stuff. Those are the two we're most active on. YouTube, all that. Like, they're there to help us promote, help answer questions, all that kind of stuff. We have video editors. Video editors edit together, like, the streams. If we're doing highlight videos, they'll edit together. Anything, they edited parts of the like anything that we need to be like going from a video to being shortened clips, all that kind of stuff. Effects, that's all them. Musicians make the backing tracks for the music. So they add that foundation for our voice actors to sing on top of. Audio mixers mix all of our audio, and that means making sure that everyone sounds like they're in the same place and not in their bedrooms. Adding in special effects, making sure that our VAs sound good, everything is sounding great. We have writers. They help us write our scripts, and make sure that we're not going too far away from canon and keeping everything in line. We have our art managers, and our art managers are the people who help the art mods and me to stay on top of everything, because we have 107 artists. So it's a big job for just me and 2 other people or 3 other people to be doing. So we have art managers to help out. And then, of course, we have our artists, our biggest chunk, 107 people, and they do all of the arting. And I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything. We have translators.
Is Ian missing anything?
I saw we have translators. I said Musicians Inferno, leave me alone. We have translators, and they have taken all of take our trailer. They're going to take the musical and make sure that we have everything on there, so it's accessible for everyone and everything. And that's going to be wonderful once that all gets done and stuff.
Okay, awesome. And those are all the positions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Jeez, that's a lot. This is a huge team from the sounds of it. How many people are on the team?
I know that it just passed 160. I can check exactly in...
Oh my gosh.
Right now, actually. We are at 167. That's how big our team is.
Jeez, that is insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And 107 of those are artists, to be fair. But art is a huge undertaking. You know, we are talking from going from storyboards to line art to color to background to shading. So it's just a lot. And we're always looking for more artists. So.
That's awesome. Okay, so do you have any big names that you might call big names on the team?
Well, I would say public spam account. They did the How Bad Can I Be Schlatt animation that went really big. They do incredible work. We have, I don't know, it's hard to, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really keep up with people's sub counts. I know PSA, we used to be really close and still are really close with Finn, who's from Late August. But he has pulled away from a lot of social media, or all social media, and it's taking a step back from the project, but we're going to miss him dearly. But he was a big part of us, and we love him. We have Skyla or Bakuzla. We have Squiddo. I'm looking at chat, because they know better than I do. But we have a lot of people, and I don't really pay attention that close to sub counts these days, because, like, frankly, you know, I've got people in my on my team who have 0 subscribers, who have 5 subscribers, who deserve millions and millions just based off of talent. We have Medio. I see you, Medio. Medio's moderately mediocre. They did election day. But genuinely, it's all about you know, what you bring to the team and little less what you have to offer clout-wise.
Okay. I figured. That's awesome. Okay. Cool stuff. Dang, public spam account. That when I saw that they were on your team, that like really caught me off guard.
Great. PSA
Really
is
talented
wonderful.
people.
PSA has decided to scrap the animatic format and has gone full animation a lot of the times. And so
Jeez.
they've dug their own grave. And they're wonderful. And I love them dearly.
Dang, alright. So what events or like what timeline of events is the musical covering?
So we cover from the beginning of L'Manberg, you know, Wilbur deciding that he wants to do that, all the way to Wilbur's death. We're following the story of Wilbur Soot, and that's really what I've decided to focus on for right now. And I think that is one of the SMP sort of functions in ways where it could end at certain points. Like you could call that an end, and then it kind of keeps going into almost like seasons. So we're mostly focusing on that first season being like Wilbur.
Okay, so he's like the protagonist of the musical, you could say.
Yeah, I always say Tommy is protagonist by personality and Wilbur is protagonist by actual like relevance to the plot.
Okay, interesting. So, how many acts are there going to be, and what like events will those acts be covering?
So we have 3 acts. So we have Act 1, and that is the creation of L'Manbergs. That goes from Wilbur deciding he wants to do this all the way to its independence. And then we have what we call interlude, and it's just it's a shorter sort of break in the middle that just talks about the election and introduces Schlatt and Quackity as major characters. And then we have Act 2, which goes from the end of the election, so that's Tommy and Wilbur being exiled, all the way to Wilbur's death. So.
Okay, interesting. So is the interlude like the second act, sort of?
Yeah, but you know, we call it interlude just because it's shorter and it covers a very specific thing, being the election. Actually, I can give you the true reason behind it was that initially Act 1 went all the way from the creation of L'Manberg to the end of the election, but we started working on it and we sort of realized that we weren't going to be able to complete that like healthily. Like there wasn't going to be a way that like my team could go that far without by August without a bunch of burnout and stuff. And so we decided to cut that little bit off. Also, it's just like a very small itty bitty plot being just the creation and like the election and stuff.
Okay, interesting. So you said this is coming out by August. You mean like every act is coming out by August, like the entire show?
Oh no! Whoa!
Okay.
I'm gonna kill me. Jesus Christ! No. Just Act 1. Just
okay.
I thought the first part of Act 1.
I thought that was probably the case, but I wanted to make sure.
Sorry, I see my team having a come apart in chat. No. No, the first part of Act 1 is coming out in August, so our Act 1 is structured a lot like imagine like episodes in a TV show season, you know, so we have 3 parts of that. Again, just a mental health thing. Like we are all volunteer because all of our money goes to charity, and so we have to be really careful about making sure that we're taking good care of our team. Just because they all volunteer to be here and we want to make sure that they're happy and healthy.
That's awesome. That's really good to hear, honestly.
Yeah, it's important.
Okay, so what problems have you encountered while you've been working on the musical? What hurdles have you had to overcome?
That's such a vague question. No, it's
does anything big come to mind, I should say?
Honestly, it really is about balance, and that's something really hard that we've had to overcome and to work with, was finding that balance of enforcing deadlines while minding people's time, while making sure that everyone's healthy and happy, because again, we're all volunteer, and that's been the hardest thing, like, especially with the art portion of the musical being just so, I want to say strenuous. Like, it just takes a lot of time to do art and a lot of mental power to being able to balance together, like, hey, artists, we need to have this soon, but also when is a realistic goal? I think probably the biggest hurdle for me is the fact that I've never done this before. This is my first experience leading a team of this size.
Mm-hmm.
I've led big teams before, but nothing this big. And just going through that initial, like, communication, taking care of each other. What does that look like? What are reasonable deadlines? I'm not an artist. What does art look like? You know, what does it mean to do all that kind of stuff? I know that communication was really hard initially, because I say this to my producers, and I'll say it here. People, because we're all on Discord and we're not in person and we don't ask for legal names and stuff, just for, number one, we're an internet project, that's creepy. Number two, just like people's being comfortable and stuff. It's like you could die and we wouldn't know. Like, we're like, oh, why has so-and-so not been online for a week? It's like we genuinely have no clue what's going on in your life and we have no way of contacting you. So keeping communication open and like setting that kind of like we have to know has been really hard.
Okay, yeah, I can imagine. It's kind of scary knowing that something could happen in someone's life and you just might like never hear from them again. Honestly, like this.
Yes.
How's that like?
It's scary.
If you don't mind me asking, of course, I'm not asking for like specifics here, but has something like that happened?
Well, you know, no, I will give you one specific example. At one point, one of my art producers, Doodle, disappeared for 5 days. Not a word from them. I have Doodle's one of the few people that I have their phone number and like know who they are. So I called them, I texted them. We messaged them on Discord, disappeared for 5 days, and it became a big thing where we had fake flyers. And you know the song "Gary Come Home" from SpongeBob?
I already see chat parrying it right now.
Yeah, Doodle Come Home. It was something I sang and sent everywhere. And then Doodle came back on that 5th day and was like, "What's going on, guys? Just my Wi-Fi like gave out. Like there was something happened." And it's like, "No, we didn't know what happened to you, man." And we were very sad. So
Dang,
yes, that does happen.
Okay, well, I'm happy it ended well.
Yeah, we're glad. We're always happy to have Doodle back. But
Okay.
It was a big deal.
So, how do I ask this? So the songs on the musical, like, what genre would you say most of them fit into? Like, is it kind of like that normal, like, musical vibe to all the songs like you hear in most classic musicals, or is it something a little bit different than that? How would you describe it?
I'd say that it fits the very, very solidly in like the musical theater genre. And that's like what I would say. We definitely have some songs that lean one way or the other in terms of being like more jazzy or more this or more that, but like I feel like it kind of gets all covered in that umbrella of being musical theater music, you know? Like I'm sure that you could get a very specific answer, like I see Inferno saying techno pop for most of Act 1. But man, if you ask me, it just sounds like music. So the genre is banger. Yeah, that's true. The genre is the genre is good music. That's what it falls under.
Nice, I like it. Are you able to hit us with the track list?
Oh, I can. It's been said on stream before. If anyone is dying to hear it,
right,
spoken slower, but I'll say it quickly.
I remember hearing it. Yeah. I one song that really stuck out to me was one called. Oh, sorry, hold on. I can't quite remember the name. I think it was like a little bit more epic than what was previously expected. That song.
A little bit more poggers than what we expected.
Exactly.
Which is, or like maybe not poggers as we thought it was gonna be. I don't. It's not that bad. The song title is not that bad. That's the song title. So yeah, I would suggest probably going to the stream and just listening to the list there, because yes, I would suggest that, because it will take me a hot second and I'll get stuck on certain songs and want to talk about them.
That's fine. You should speedrun it though. Right now.
Okay.
Okay, I'm setting up a minute on my phone. If you're not done by the end of it, we're starting the podcast over.
Okay.
3,
song
2,
names
1,
are
go.
Welcome to the SMP, and I Lost Them, I Can Do That, Loverboy, Bruno Up a Plan, Loverboy Reprise, Pursuit of Victory, Fox's Lullaby, Warning Words, White Flags, Down X3, Rebel, Independence or Death, Last Move, 10 Statements, Lift Our Voices, It'll Be Fine, Not That Bad, Reality, Ode to Lamamber.
Dang, okay. That was well under a minute. Alright.
I talk very quickly naturally. I have to slow down usually. So,
I am the exact same way. I can relate. Dang, that was that was from someone who knows how to talk fast. Jeez. You good? You need some water?
Okay.
Breathe, Ian, breathe.
No, that was the thing. You could ask Doodle. I've learned how to breathe while talking. Like, I can breathe in while still speaking. So,
What? Huh? How is that? Like, do you just do it through your nose? What the heck?
Know.
That's impressive. I should learn how to do that. That's impressive. Jeez.
Yeah, no, I didn't miss any. I know my musical front and back. Okay.
Oh, you just said that all off your head.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were like reading from a list. Oh my gosh.
No, in fact, Media was trying to send me a list when you asked that, and then couldn't send them fast enough.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, if you need a second to get a list, that's fine. I'll just cut out the time.
No, I'm good. I'm okay.
Jeez. Okay. So, from what's in Act 1 so far, what are some of your favorites, or like, what are some songs you have something to say about? I'd like to hear some director commentary on it.
Oh, okay. I think that one of the things that I'm really proud of, and that I think that Medio definitely, who's our music producer, like they're our head of music, has done a really good job of keeping me accountable for, is not losing the humor that was especially prevalent in early SMP. Because it was funny, and that's what like drove me to watch, and what drove a lot of people to watch, was the fact that it was funny. So having things like, we have a song called Brewing Up a Plan, which is just a chaotic mess of just jokes and whatever, like it really keeps that like spirit of the SMP alive. Like, we didn't just go full angst. But of course, I am a sucker for angst, so, you know, Revel is really good. The demo for that is up on my channel, but when I say it's gotten the glow up, I mean it's gotten a glow up. Like, it's so much better.
I remember listening to the original, actually, while I was preparing for this podcast. Super good.
Yeah, it sounds so much better. It's incredible. And like, that's a really good one. That's one that honestly also I have a huge attachment to, because I got to watch it grow, quote unquote, grow up from being like my itty bitty baby song that I wrote by myself in my bedroom, to just seeing like Joao, who was the musician for it, just like take it and run with it and make it so much better, and then hearing a voice actor on it. Like, I wrote so many of these songs, but very few of them did I actually put out into the world. So just seeing it improve and seeing it be that much better, just like it's got a special little place in my heart.
Okay, that's awesome. So if you could have anyone from the internet work on the musical, like have a position on the musical, who would you choose?
Okay, well, let me break down this question. If I could have anyone from the internet, like if I could pick someone, I would have Saddest, because I'm biased. And their work is incredible. They know the SMP. I feel like they would have a lot of passion for it. And we're talking about just like celebrities, then God, just bring on all my favorite celebrities and have them work on it. Like, no, but I mean, like, genuinely, people that I feel like are maybe obtainable one day, I would have Saxum.
That would be pretty cool. That'd be pretty dang cool.
But I do already have the best team. I got it, Kaylin. I don't want anybody new. I don't need any clout. I have the best team as it is. But yes, if I could have Joe Biden.
Joe Biden would be a wonderful dream voice actor, I'm sure.
Oh, dude, crazy. And I think our actual dream voice actor, I think Janie would probably step down if I said, "Hey Janie, I love you, but Joe Biden."
Yeah, Joe Biden wants to be on the show. Sorry, Janie.
Yeah.
Okay. So if one of the Dream SMP members, like one of the actual streamers, wanted to be a part of the show, how would you feel about that? And would you like say yes to that?
Well, okay. I've actually thought a lot about this because I've seen this question before because you sent it to me.
Crazy how that works.
I don't know. Like, I feel like that'd be really hard because, like, I made a joke about, Janie, like, stepping down for Joe Biden. But, like, it would be hard on me to, like, take these people who have auditioned and who have put so much work and so much effort into making something and to say, screw you, this guy's got more clout, Like, that would be something that would be really hard for me to do. So it's like, I don't even know what I would do at that point. Like, that'd be a sit down with the producers and have a 4-hour meeting about it conversation. Because, like, I would love to have their support, but I don't know if I could replace anyone on my team in preference.
Okay, that's interesting. It's honestly nice to hear how much you care about your team. That, like, that's awesome. That you would, like, turn down Tommy Innit being the Tommy Innit voice actor, and, like, because somebody else put so much effort into their application because they want to be a part of it. I think that's nice.
Yeah. That would it would hurt me. Like, it would be one of those things that, like, I would carry around for the rest of my life. Like, damn it. I let Harry down because I couldn't turn down Tommy in it. Some British 16-year-old.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, that's interesting. What if one of them wanted to be like an artist or something like that, though?
Oh, no, yeah, we'll take him in. We always need more artists. Yeah, come on in. Yeah, like, of course. Yeah, we would love their support. We would always love their support.
Tomorrow says I want to be a background artist.
Yeah, no, if I get a message from DreamWasTaken, I would, he'd have to submit an audition, and then I would go to the art directors, and I would say, hey, we have this background artist.
Dream's like, I literally made the server this is based on. What the heck?
Yeah, we'd say, we need you to do a callback. I need to see it again.
We'll think about it. It's a very competitive position right now.
Yeah, of course. So that would be the thing, is that it would be hard on me, and it would be a decision that we'd have to make. Also, bearing in mind who it is that we would be like replacing or something. Like, if so and so is like so ready to just like jump like at the idea, then like we're like, great, okay, but it's hard. It'd be hard.
Right, that's understandable. So for the voice actors, when you're choosing like who will voice act for what character, what like criteria are you judging it based on? Like whether they actually sound like the character or how good they are as a voice actor in general?
So I've always broken it down into 3 categories. We have your speaking voice, so like how you can deliver the lines, like if you have good acting ability, your singing voice, are you strong vocally, and also your vibes. So you don't have to sound like the character by any means. Like if you just have a different accent or this or that, like you don't have to sound like the character, but your vibes have to be the same. Like I have to listen to the audition and think, yeah, no, this is the same vibes as Fundy or Carl Jacobs or Wilbur or whatever. Like you would have to. That's the thing, is that like we'll get one of the big things, especially for characters that we have stuff written for, like Joao, who is our Fundy voice actor. I had written Fight with Fire at that point, and I listened to his audition, and I was like, I can hear him singing the song. Like, he's got funny vibes. I feel like he would sing the song really well. So we'll take him, you know? It's like, it's about vibes if you can act the part and if you can sing the part.
Okay, interesting. So you mentioned earlier that there are characters that are like representing the chats of each streamer. Can you talk more about that? And also, like, I know you mentioned either on a stream or like to me that there are also NPCs. I'd like to hear you talk about like that a little bit.
Yeah, of course. So the chats themselves are, you can look on our Instagram, and that's probably where you're gonna get like the easiest way to find them. But they're these little TV heads, and they fill the role of the streamer's like chat that is theirs. Obviously they don't like belong to the streamer because we've personified that, so that's a little creepy if they like belong to them. But so we have instead that like they're everyday people, and they fill the roles that we think that the chat's filled. So that's voting in the election, that's talking to the streamers, it's influencing what happens. And we've given each chat a basic personality kind of associated to their streamer's personality. So like, for instance, Amy, who is Tommy's chat, Amy is short for imitate, also is close to the word in it, like Tommy in it. And so Amy likes to imitate things because Tommy's chat will just repeat lines that they've heard. They'll repeat PogChamp over and over again. They'll spam emotes. Amy's just very chaotic. They really only care about their streamer. You know, Amy only really cares about Tommy. Doesn't particularly care about Lemanberg and all that kind of stuff. They're more in it for whatever Tommy wants, you know? And they really look up to him.
Tommy wants.
Yeah, they're in it for Tommy. No, and they they really care about what Tommy thinks about them, and they really value his opinion and think that he's just the coolest guy ever. Because if you look at Tommy in its chat, everyone just thinks Tommy's the coolest, like the shit, you know? Whereas Winston, who's Wilbur's chat, has a much more mellow personality. They're a lot more witty and snarky and will make comments, and they care a lot about Lemanberg and the story and the history. Because when you look at Wilbur's chat, you'll see that they really care about the plot and that kind of stuff. And it's an older fan base than Tommy's, so it's a much more mature acting chat. So that's sort of like the chats really serve that role, and like we also use them to sort of justify any sort of we've translated from a digital world to a real world, so any things that sort of fall in between we use the chats to justify, you know. And that's really good for us to have. I saw Badger. Yeah, Badger is Techno's chat. And that's actually something that's important to mention when talking about the chats, is that I made them in a time before like the voices in the head or Phil's chat being birds. Like, that wasn't a thing when I made the chats. And so I had to make them for the first time myself. When it comes to Techno's voices, I think it's really funny because Techno paints his chat as this very angsty, dark, blood for the blood god. Oh, I'm so angsty and dark and I crave blood and I want death and it's so whatever. And it's like, yeah, okay, buddy, your chat is spamming E and rainbow chat. I don't know what you see in them, but it's not what it is. And so Badger sort of fills that role of being the chaotic gremlin, while Techno's voices get to keep their sort of angsty side.
Okay, interesting.
And then the NPCs, and that's essentially just making Lemanberg not lame. Because if you don't have just people in the wars, people watching, people on the sidelines, people running the town, running what is Lemanberg, it's just 5 guys fighting 5 guys. You know?
Right, like someone had to vote in the elections, right? Like, there are people who have to vote in the elections, you know?
Yeah, of course. It's that kind of stuff. Like, we have to keep up with the fact that, like, it just makes it... So, I feel like... And this is about to be really sappy. You're about to get a lot of sap from me. the viewers and the watchers and the people behind the SMP being like the fans, like they really were part of the story. You know, they filled out what was L'Manberg, was the individual people in the chat, like rooting for what side they were on, wanting the best for everything. Like that's what they were, and I feel like it does no justice to what the SMP is to exclude the people who are in it, because like a lot of SMP culture and a lot of SMP life is watching animatics, is reading fan fiction, is listening to music, following the musical, plug, but like that kind of stuff. Like that's what a lot of it is being a fan and being in this fandom, and I don't feel like it's L'Manberg without it. So.
Okay, cool. I think that's a really cool idea. How are you representing the NPCs, like, in the animatics and stuff?
So there's the chats, obviously, who serve their very narrative role and who have lines and who essentially speak for the people, you know? Like, they do that. And then the NPCs themselves, like, just the people in the background, either are just random people, or quite frankly, the artists got bored and put themselves in it. Like, I'm being honest, like they're like, it would be really cool if I put my Sona right here.
Nice.
So they did that.
I like that, honestly. That has a lot more personality to it.
Yeah. I think that's like, and the NPCs don't have lines, and they're not self-inserts, and we haven't given ourselves dramatic plot lines or story relevance. Like, I'm not trying to do that. And so the chats do most of the talking. I just think it's important visually to see it, you know?
Okay, interesting. I agree, that's a very good idea. I think that definitely makes things a lot more lively and explains a lot of what happens in the story.
Yeah, make a war actually a war, and not 5 guys punching each other on a Minecraft server, alright? Like, it's like, come on now.
Okay, so why did you choose to cover all of, like, from Wilbur starting L'Manberg to Wilbur's death in the musical, or in the first act, I suppose? No, wait,
going from Wilbur's, going from the creation all the way to the end, because I feel like that is the real first narrative. You know, we see the creation to the destruction and why. You've asked a question that's gonna get me talking about Wilbur, so Medio, feel free to mute me for the next 5 minutes because you already heard all of this. Wilbur's character is something that's really interesting because we see a guy who, as I've filled out the character and I've done a lot of the music based around, is this this idea of this guy who essentially wants to be noticed. So like, he just wants to be relevant on Mr. Speedrun's Big SMP, you know, like that's really important to him, and his character just wants to be seen. And so he starts this nation. So we're coming from a very selfish beginning of Wilbur doing it mostly for himself. Wilbur doing it to be seen, to be noticed. He's put all of his self-esteem and all of his self-worth on this idea of being a leader, of starting something, of starting a revolution. So that's where all of his self-esteem is lying in L'Manberg, especially after he wins. Cause like, you know, you see it in the streams, Wilbur actually at one point wants to give up, and Tommy doesn't let him. He doesn't let Wilbur give up, and Wilbur is rewarded for that, even though the objectively better decision was to stop because people were getting hurt. But he kept going and was rewarded for it. So we see Wilbur kind of acting selfishly and getting rewarded for it, and then going through this election once again selfishly thinking like, I'm just going to do it to say that I won democratically and to prove that I'm a good leader, when in reality he's not. And he loses it. And so it's kind of like the extreme form of like post-show depression, where like he had a purpose. He was the president. This is where all of his self-esteem was. He was nothing without L'Manberg, and then he lost it. And we see him going through this descent and inevitably destroying the thing that he created to help himself. And I feel like that's a really interesting story to tell, and to see how something started from such a selfish seed grew to involve so many more people and grew to involve characters, and people found a bunch of other things that Wilbur didn't even intend. And I think that that's a really interesting story to watch play out. And I think that that's a good ending for it also, is to see that, yes, it's over, and we sort of touch on the fact that Tubbo starts again, that Tubbo rebuilds it, and this time he's not building it from a place of selfishness. So you hope that it'll get better. Obviously, as viewers who have seen beyond that, we know that it doesn't, but like in the realm of the musical, that is something that is, we get to see what Lemember could have been and what it could be if it was not started by someone who is so in it for the wrong reasons.
Okay, interesting. So, in what ways in the musical do characters like diverge from their like real life streamer counterparts?
Oof. Well, you have the big one being Wilbur himself. Wilbur does not go through an arc of bordering on insanity. Like, Wilbur himself is a fine guy. He's not a villain. He's not evil. You see that a lot with character Dream, and that's someone that I respect Dream for it, that he was willing to go all the way to be the bad guy. Dream himself is not a bad guy. You know, there are definitely some characters who stick a little closer to their... I know it's flan time, sorry. It's 8:03 flan time. Not anymore, but every day at 8:03 they spam at EST, they spam flan, which is like the custard. They spam it in chat everywhere.
Okay.
And so
that's interesting.
I'm sorry. I just looked over and I see Ian, it's flan time. I'm like, I know, I'm busy. But
where did that come from?
Sorry.
This is an important question.
Context. So, you know this smiley face that's like colon and then D, like an uppercase D. It's like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know how on Discord emotes are like colon and then a word and then colon, and that will make an emote, you know?
Yeah.
So if you type in a colon, it will assume that you want to do an emote, and so then if you type in colon and then 2 uppercase D's, it will autocorrect to custard. So at one point, I was really excited and just sent a bunch of flans by mistake. And now it's 8:03 flan time.
And I'm assuming you sent that at 8:03.
I think so. I don't exactly remember, but I would assume so.
That's simply incredible. Is it only like 8:03 p.m. or a.m. too? These are important.
I think it's only p.m.
Okay.
I'm not usually awake at 8:03 in the morning, so I wouldn't know. But
who knows what they might be up to.
But I'm sorry, I'll re-answer my question, picking up where I left off. The character Dream, he's not a bad guy. There are definitely some characters who stick more to their actual streamer personalities, like especially like Tommy. Tommy usually sticks pretty close to his real life personality. There are obviously points like during the Exile arc where he's playing more of a character, but generally he's he sticks pretty closely to who he is. But, like, it's usually the villains. Those are the villains that you see the big changes in who they are.
Okay, that makes sense. So, in, like, the musical that you're doing, how do the characters of the musical, like, diverge from the characters from the SMP, if they do at all?
Oof. The answer is that they're better. I'm joking. I'm only half joking, to be frank. But the deal is that we've taken essentially the skeletons and the bones of what they've given us, and we filled it out. You know, I don't think that when Wilbur was creating his character and sort of doing this, especially in the beginning when he was just kind of doing whatever, I don't think that he went through and thought, I'm gonna make an arc about being selfish and being whatever. Like, I don't think that was his intention, but he created the character. And then it was my job to go through and to decide what that meant, and to clean it up and to take parts and decide what is and isn't canon And that was what a lot of I did for early musical, was deciding, you know, who do I want this character to be? Because honestly, I think that a lot of what makes Dream SMP so popular, especially among artists and writers and people like me, is the fact that it's sort of almost a writing prompt, because it's so, I'm not going to say bad, but it's very vague. And the characterizations, especially early on, weren't a lot to go off of. So we got the chance to essentially play around and to do what we wanted, and to say, well, we know that Wilbur goes from here to here, like mentally. How did he get there? Why? And I think that was a lot of fun. And most of what we did was clean everyone up to keep them consistent, and to really make sure that the character arc was working and made sense. You know, every now and again, a streamer will try something, like they'll make an offhanded comment, and it'll get interpreted as canon, and then that'll switch a bunch of things around. So we essentially just went through and cut out anything that we didn't think made sense, you know? And just cleaned up these characters to be what I would call the fan-in version of them, you know? Like, the version that us as fans make animatics about. Really cleaning up that story to be concise.
Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting. So, once you're done with this musical... Actually, wait, before I ask that question, when do you think the little interlude in Act 2 will be released?
Oh boy, that's a question that you asked me.
Sorry,
so you said it. I think that it's something that I'm not 100% sure of, to be honest. I know that interlude will be out a lot quicker than Act 1 was, especially because we don't have to do a lot of the early stuff, like deciding characterization and whatnot, and making sure, like, just the basic framework. Like, I don't have to start from scratch anymore. I'm coming from a basis of having stuff to work with. But frankly, I don't know, because there were definitely parts of the musical this time during Act 1 that I feel like were rushed, and that I feel like should have more time. So, I don't know. I think that we're going to release it once we are really working on it. I genuinely no clue. I think that it will be out when it gets out, hopefully. That's
okay.
the answer that you get.
Optimistic, very optimistic.
Yeah, you know, we do our best to. The hard part is making sure that we're balancing everyone's mental health and stuff, especially because we're going to enter during the interlude production. We're going to start, and actually the end of Act 1, like Part 3 production, we're going to be in a new school year. So people are going to be a lot busier, and mental health is going to be fluctuating a lot more because school is stressful. And so taking care of everyone is really my top priority. So we might end up taking like a month break, and that's okay, you know? So I want to take care of everyone and make sure everything's okay. So that's my answer. It'll get out when it gets out.
Okay, fair enough. That's probably a pretty healthy mindset to have. We all know what happens when a project rushes to release at a certain date that it's set for itself.
Dude, I can't. Like, I really don't want to become like a sob story. Like, that's my biggest thing, is I don't want to become like a, well, you know, Dream SMP, it was a huge thing back in the day. There was even a musical, but it kind of fell apart and everyone hates it now. Like, that's what I don't want it to be. So...
Are you scared that something like that could happen?
Nowadays, a lot less than I was, because I've seen my team, and I've gotten really to know them, and I'm gonna cry. We've reached a point of being like a family, and people stay in the musical even though it can be stressful, and even though we can have mistakes and we can mess up, because of the people that they've met, and the reason that we're here is for each other, and we're sort of all just bound together because we want to be here. So I'm not worried about people leaving as much, because I feel like if they wanted to, they would tell me and we could fix it, you know? Like, I don't feel like people would just up and leave without saying something to me first, because that would hurt me. Because they've become a family, and I don't want to. I couldn't lose them like that. So I would rather change, and I'd rather say that we're gonna release in 2023 than hurt them, you know?
Right, I getcha. That's smart. That's a great mindset to have. It's really nice to hear that, honestly.
Yeah.
Very supportive chat right now, I will say. You should take a look at it if you aren't right now.
I will cry. So
awesome. That's what we love to see on this podcast.
Cry. Yeah, I will cry.
Go do it then. Come on, cry.
No,
go.
no,
Go,
no.
go.
That's not the right
coward.
answer.
What?
No,
Come
next
on.
question. Next question.
Okay. All right. Next question. So when the musical is eventually over, would you like
oh God.
Would you like start working on another musical to cover more recent events, or like what happens after it? Are you okay? Do you need a second?
I'm fine. No, I'm okay. No, the answer to that question, and it's actually what I told my team, is that it all depends on when we get there. When we get there, it could be fucking 2 years, you know? And I don't know how I'll feel. I don't know how they'll feel. I don't know if Dream SMP will have gotten canceled by then. If we will still be into it, and I don't want to promise anything and say that we're going to go any farther, because I just don't know if that's going to happen. You know, I can guarantee up to Wilbur's death, but I don't want to say that it's going to happen if it's not. But after musical ends, I've said it, and they're all spamming it in the chat. We've talked about going on to being an itty bitty baby production company, which is why they're spamming Mu73, because that's the M73 Productions is the idea. Putting together something bigger than us, and it would be about original work. Because that is the thing that the musical has really done for me is, yes, I'm working on a Dream SMP fan project. Yes, I love the Dream SMP. But like, again, and I said it, and it's sappy and it's whatever. But like, it's really about what we've learned from each other, what I've learned. Like, I've never led a team this big, and getting to see it thrive and grow like that. And I would love to offer that chance to other people, you know? But it's all about when we get there. And that's what because the last thing I want is for this thing to just be something that I did at one point, because I have created we've built such a community and have become such a family that I have faith that that things could get better and things could keep going and we could do original work and be something. But
that's awesome. That's really, really cool.
All depends. It's the hope, it's the dream, you know?
Well, I really hope you guys get there. That'd be really awesome. And honestly, like, from what I've seen of you guys so far, from what very little I've seen, I 100% believe that you guys could do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I really hope that works out. That's, like, awesome. It would be such a cool direction to see you guys go in. And when it does,
that would
remember to shout me out on live TV or whatever.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, yeah. Where we started. Of course, that's the thing, is I like helping people. I'm sorry, someone just, Medio, please don't start copy-paste chains. Why are you doing this? But like, that's something that I do want, is that I have, there it is. I have such a love for these people, and we care so much about each other that I want to see it happen. And I have plans to help make it happen, you know? Just gotta keep on that grind.
So what kind of plans do you have?
Oh, well, I don't want to make promises, and this, for the record, I'm not making promises. Just, they're gonna get me on a rant. The thing that I would really love to see, the thing that I really want to maybe one day have, is giving people the chance to join something like this, give young artists and musicians the resources and the people to help them get somewhere, because like, there's so many people on the internet, artists, musicians, just itty bitty baby creators who are doing everything that they can to be seen, and I really want to help them get there, you know? Like, maybe give them the chance to use something like Toon Boom, or teach them how to use Logic Pro or Reaper. Stuff like that would be really cool. That would be a really fun thing that I would love to start one day. And that's kind of my plan. We just have to really break down what that means, what that looks like, and if my team is up for it. And that involves money, which is a big deal. And something that right now is all going to charity because charities are really hit hard by COVID because live theater couldn't exist. And that's where I want the money to go right now. But maybe one day we could be for profit and be a place that people could come and learn how to make music, how to be an artist, what that looks like, what that means.
That's awesome. That's such a cool goal. I really hope that works out. That's really neat.
Yeah.
Oh, that is actually so cool. So cool to hear.
Yeah, it's the hope, cross your fingers. Maybe one day MU73 will be thriving still entirely on Discord because, of course, what else would we use? Any sort of professional software? Of course not. No. Why would we do that? That we don't do that. We use Discord like smart people.
To be fair, Discord is pretty good, like for being free, especially.
Yes, it is, and I love it. I love Discord because I have to. It's a really interesting relationship. So.
So one thing you mentioned while you're talking, like one thing that okay, well, let me just ask if tomorrow a bunch of members of the Dream SMP were to be canceled, the Dream SMP as a whole kind of fell apart because of that, would you continue working on the musical?
That's not a 4-hour producer conversation, but I think that it's something that we really struggle with because we are working from a pre-existing thing. But I feel like the Dream SMP has separated so much from its original base. The thing itself, the story itself is so not attached to the streamers these days that I feel like we could keep working on it because we are all working with characters. We're no longer talking about Tommy in it. We're talking about Tommy, the character,
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's interesting because we had to have this discussion when J Schlatt was canceled. And regardless of your opinion on that entire situation, it's something to take and note of for us because we do have Schlatt in Act 2. We do have Schlatt in the interlude. And what we've sort of resigned and decided to do is we're making we can say that we don't necessarily agree with what he did or what he said, but we're playing a character. We're showing a character and who happens to share his name at this point, they're so separated from each other that it all just depends. Yeah, someone just said it's like Harry Potter, where it's gotten so separated from J.K. Rowling and her grossness that you reach a point where it's like Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling aren't connected anymore. But it depends on what's said, what's done, and what the community wants, and yeah.
Okay, interesting. I think that's a good approach to take to it for sure. If that were to happen and you guys decided that you did want to stop working on the Lemanberg musical because of whatever happened, would you just go into making an original work?
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome.
Again, it's all about talking to each other and keeping that communication open and who's feeling it and who's not and that kind of stuff. But that would be the hope, yeah.
Okay. So, I'll save that question for later. What advice do you have for anybody else who is looking to run a project like this?
It's I've got a lot of things to say, which is, number one, I didn't have any experience. I could write music, I could fuck around in GarageBand, and I had some experience being captain of a debate team and being heads of groups and stuff, but I didn't have any experience doing this. And now I'm here. And I think that the thing about that is that you cannot be stubborn. You don't know. And that's okay. You don't have to know. But there are people who do know and who can tell you. And I think it's really important to listen. and to hear that and to take it and to really understand that you're going to make mistakes and that you're not going to be perfect, and that even when you think there's a really good chance that you're not, and when someone says, hey, you should be doing it this way, maybe don't, just drop everything and do what they say, but do some research, listen and hear them out and that kind of stuff. I think the other thing I would say is, know where you are, understand your limitations, and understand what that means. So, like, we're an all-volunteer project. I don't let that hold us back in the sense that I don't think that, like, our content is gonna be good. Like, I'm not gonna say, oh, we're volunteers, so we can... No. We have good content, and I hold us to a high standard, but I also understand that, like, people aren't getting paid to be here, and maybe they have jobs that do pay, and that has to be their priority. And that's okay, And understanding your limitations, but also, like, being aware that you have to believe in, as that's so cheesy, like, you have to believe in yourself or no one else is going to believe in you. Like, when I reached out to Finn and when Jake reached out to PSA, we were coming from a place of being really small and going to big creators, but we were confident that we deserved to have them on our project, that, like, we were good enough for them, and they saw that and they joined, and now, I mean, I don't see PSA having any will to leave. Like, they're an incredible person who's been such a big part of, like, our family and stuff. So I think it's about just having that confidence in yourself, knowing where you stand, and just being willing to listen to people. And that's the big, like, that is honestly the biggest thing, is that you have to listen. And, like, sometimes you're going to not like what you hear, but you have to hear it and you have to think about it and understand it and keep moving. Because if you sit there and you put your foot down and say, no, I'm only ever doing it my way, people are going to hate you and you're not going to have a project anymore. So, yeah. And it's hard. It sucks. Like, I'm not going to say that my life has been great. Like, there have been parts of it that I'm like, fuck, I really wanted this to work and it just didn't. It just couldn't work that way. And I had to, be sad about it, but then stand up and adapt and keep moving.
Okay. That's really good advice. Dang. Alright, so let's say, theoretically, Dream, like, right now, says that the Dream SMP, all content related to the Dream SMP, no, I shouldn't say that. The storyline of the Dream SMP, and, like, all the characters and all that stuff is all, like, free public domain, and you can use it however you want, and you can even sell stuff that features it or is about it, and you won't get, like, you won't get in legal issues for that. Would that lead you to want to try to make any sort of money off of the musical by, like, selling CDs or records as, like, merch or anything of that sort?
So I think it's interesting. We could sell right now our songs. We could sell our songs. We could. We could make a shit ton of money selling our songs.
That's true. That's true.
But we aren't, and because I just don't think that it's worth it. And all our money goes to charity right now. When it comes to merch and stuff, yeah, I think that we probably would start selling merch. We can't because of image and copyright around image. But, like, I don't know. I think it's an interesting question, because we do have free reign over certain things. Like, we have free reign over our art. We have free reign over our music. We have free reign over the chats. Those are all things that are ours to use, and to sell as we wish. And we talked about making merch, and they're all spamming the word jacket. But, like, we talked about making merch, and maybe one day, especially if we want to start trying the whole for-profit thing. I mean, we probably would, because, we want to be a production company one day, so we have to start dealing with money and stuff. But it'd be great if everything was public domain and I could stick a Dream smiley face on everything, but I just can't. And I don't know, I think some part of me doesn't see the integrity in it, because we have our own characters, we have the chats, and we have our brand, so we can sell that for now.
Okay, interesting. So, Ian, what other stuff do you do outside of the musical? as far as art goes.
So yeah, not art wise. I am focusing on a lot of law related stuff, but art wise, I write music. Like I write original music that's not related to the Dream SMP. That's like a big thing that I do. Is that I write songs about my experience and about that kind of stuff. And if anyone asks, I do plan one day to post them. I don't know. It's sort of like putting your child out into the world, and I want to be sure that I really am happy with everything before I put it out there. For the just to be like, this is me and my music,
So have you already recorded some songs?
I have. None of them are at any point that I'd be willing to share them, but I have recorded songs. Yes.
Okay, interesting. That's cool. So, your original music, what kind of stuff do you do for your original music? Like, what kind of genres?
Generally, it's my original music sounds a lot like my Dream SMP music in the sense that it's very guitar or ukulele heavy. I'd say it leans I guess indie or folk-y. I hate. I go on a small rant. I hate the term country because I feel like people have such a bad association with it because there is a type of country that is really bad, and that's the kind of country where the people who write it have never actually ever seen a farm before. But then there's people like the Lumineers who write the equivalent of country or folk music, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is great." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is good. It's called country, you idiot." So, I write that kind of music, frankly. I'm big into guitars and stuff.
Okay, cool. Let's see here. So, have you ever been involved in musical theater yourself?
Yes, I'm a huge theater kid. That's a big thing that was a part of my life growing up. When I was a bit of Ian imagery, when I was very young, I used to sit at my windowsill because I had one of those bay windows and sing "The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow" whenever it would rain, from Annie. I would sit there and sing that and serenade my neighbors. So I grew up a theater kid. I've always been a theater kid. That's not a new occurrence. So, yeah, doing theater in school and doing theater at my local theaters and stuff has always been really important to me.
Okay, so are you usually an actor when you get involved?
Yeah. Taking a directing position is something I'm used to. I'm used to being more in front of the camera, not behind it. But frankly, through doing the musical, it's been really cool to see the behind the scenes, and I'm starting to wonder if maybe a more behind the scenes path is something that I would prefer to take because it's just been really cool. But yeah, usually I'm an actor. Yeah.
Okay, cool stuff. What's your favorite musical?
It's that's a terrible question. I have no answer.
Interview asks a question. Guess that's a terrible question.
Terrible. I can't ever choose, and when you ask me the next time, it's gonna be a different answer. But what I've always said right now is Hades Town. I think the music in it is really good. I love the story. I was a Greek mythology kid. Yeah, the musical is my favorite musical, but I think that's playing on Broadway is is Hades Town. I was a Hamilton kid, I was a Dear Evan Hansen kid, but Hades Town is just really, really good.
I've heard a ton of good things about Hades Town. Never seen it myself.
It's really good. It's a great show.
That's cool. So, while you were involved in theater, or when you've been involved in theater in real life, did you ever do any backstage or tech positions?
No.
I highly recommend you try it out sometime because it seriously gives you a different perspective. Why are you laughing?
Yeah.
Huh? What's laughter about there? Huh? What do you want to say? What do you want to say, Ian? Huh?
My thing is that the problem with me trying to do tech or backstage work is I have really, really bad I guess I get really jealous. Even when I go see shows, I go to a theater and see a show running, I'll be like, I could play that so much better than they could. And that's awful. And it's a terrible thing to do. And it ruins the theater experience. But I would suck it backstage because I would just so deeply want to be on the stage and to be singing, you know? Like, I would just sit there and be like, oh, but if she would just, like, cheat out just a little bit more, it would be great, you know? But, like, so I would suck at that. That would be awful. No, it's not poggers.
would be not poggers indeed. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I had to ask because at my school, I am the tech director of like pretty much well, anything involving theater that is extracurricular. Wait, no, I was the tech director because I've graduated now. Oh, okay. I need to accept my reality. No, I'm also a big theater kid. And as a techie, I'm extremely offended by your comments. Anyways, joking.
No. I love my techies. Like, I love y'all do incredible work. Y'all really make the show work. I get so worked up. And I'm like, even if I take an ensemble role, I know that ensemble's important, but I'm just like, oh, my little theater heart longs to be the center of attention at all moments.
No, I get that. Okay. So, I think this is like the last few questions I'll ask before we move on to the audience questions. But, alright, so we were talking about this not too long ago, just a few days ago, because you changed your status, and I immediately, I'll just say what happened. You changed your status to, if I wake up and my house is full of smoke, call me up and tell me a joke. And I messaged you saying, oh shit, you're really joking at a time like this. Obviously, these lines
and I had a visceral reaction to when you said that.
Oh yes, you did. That was great. These are of course lines from Bo Burnham's new special Inside, which you can find on Netflix and many other platforms, I'm sure. Oh my gosh, I just recently watched that last weekend with Candu Campese, who is in chat right now, the first person on the podcast, and oh my gosh, it broke me. I feel like as an artist, there's a lot that you could really say about that, and a lot to relate to that could really get to the core of being an artist. So I wanted to ask about your personal feelings about the Inside special and how it resonated with you.
Dude, this special fucks me up. This special kills me. I get killed by this special. I cry every time. Without fail, I cry. And it's because I feel so deeply connected to a lot of it, because I think, and I'm not going to claim to know Bo's experience or to understand everything, because I don't, especially because he's significantly older than I am. But the show, the way that he talks about the internet, and I'm making a musical that literally originates and its core values come from, and its story comes from an internet. It comes from Twitch, you know? And I used it to cope through COVID. And the line, oh shit, you're really joking at a time like this. It hurts me. Because it's I felt that so deeply, because everyone was like, COVID is awful, I'm dying, I'm lonely, I have nothing to do. And I'm sitting here I was brought to find a new family through something that hurt people and that has caused so much heartbreak, and yet I'm joking and I'm sitting around and having a good time while everyone else is, and I shouldn't be, you know? I shouldn't be joking. And the reason that my status is, if I wake up in a house that's full of smoke, I'll panic, so call me up and tell me a joke, is because I've just found that I've started relying so much more on other people to be my joy, because I'm a very naturally introverted person, but through the musical and through finding this family, I've if I find myself in a situation, if I wake up in a house that's full of smoke, if I'm in a situation that's awful, if I'm dying or whatever, something's happening that's so bad, I want nothing more than from someone from a musical to call me and just talk to me, you know? That show hits so hard. And the part about his thing about turning 30 in his room and saying the thought of turning 30 and still be working on the special is just like he talks about how it just doesn't sit right and he can't even put it in words. And I'm like, I feel that because I wanted nothing more than to finish this musical before or like towards the beginning of the new school year, because I didn't have a really good experience with school during COVID and stuff. And I wanted nothing more than to come back and to say like, look what I did, and it looks amazing. And there's a huge scare about not finishing the musical in time and not getting it out. And I was like, the thought of having to start this next school year and say that I didn't do it just like burns, and like I can't. And it just like this show just hits so hard, and there's a part in it, and it's not even a song, it's just like a dialogue bit where he talks about again like this idea that like he's coming to an end, like he's about to finish the special, you know, that like it's about to be over, and he just says like it can't be over, like it's not going to be done, I'm going to be in this house forever, I'm never going to finish it, and that's okay, you know. And I feel that exact same way. Like there's times where I'm like, the musical's never going to get done, and I'm okay with that. Like the idea of it being finished, just like it's it just plays inside my head, you know. And like I know everyone and their I'm gonna keep talking. I know that everyone and their mom has done a thing with like the possible ending song or like goodbye. But like that ending makes me sob, because like the line like I swear to God that all I've ever wanted was a little bit of everything all the time. Like there's some part of me that feels really guilty about starting a musical, and like who am I to be like starting a musical, you know? Like that's such like a all I ever wanted was a little bit of everything, you know? Like all I ever wanted was to see, just to be seen, you know? And like to have a platform and to talk to these people, and it's just like, or you know, the line, well, look who's inside again, went out to look for a reason to hide again. And it's like, I've done so much excuse making to go back and like to be here, you know, like I've run away from my real life to be in the musical because it's such just like a little fantasy almost. Like everyone is so kind and everyone cares about each other so much that like what I would give to just drop out of everything, like jobs, schools, and just to sit here and to be with the musical, but I just can't, you know? And that special just brings up all those emotions and just throws them in my face. And it's so hard. It's so hard because that show just talks about ending, you know? Like everything coming to an end, like working so hard on something and it being your life. Like that special was his life. The musical is my life. And like, just, God, it hurts. That special hurts. God. I'm gonna cry.
Jeez, wow. I totally get what you're saying. I mean, obviously I can't relate to many of the things you're saying, specifically related to the musical, but that musical, the special really hit me hard too, and I think it did hit me in a lot of the same ways it did for you. Especially the bit about joking at a time like this, you know, because like if COVID hadn't happened for me, never would have gotten like into D&D, never would have learned like how what I could do through my creativity and my art and how I could use it to bring people together. Probably wouldn't be doing this podcast, you know, and I'd probably be significantly less confident in myself. But you know, it took like a pandemic to get there. I don't know how I feel about that, you know.
Like it just is so, yeah, it's weird. Like to be like, we're really joking. Well, people are getting hurt, but like joking is how I think we as a community, especially like the musical and Dream SMP, it's how we coped. You know, it's how we got over everything. And like, and that's the deal. Is like if I wake up and everything is awful and like my house is full of smoke, like I just want nothing more than like someone from the musical or like that team to come and find me and to just be there with me and to make me laugh, because that's what they've been doing. That's what COVID was. COVID was a house full of smoke, and they called me and said, hey, stop being sad because you have no reason to be and we're here for you. And like, you know, when I'm totally irrelevant and broke, damn it, call me up and tell me a joke, you know? Like that's all I want. And that it was hard to like hear it, but it was great. And I love that special.
I feel like everybody who listened to that special, especially every person who makes content or like is an artist in any way, was definitely hit hard in some way. Cause
yeah.
Oh, what was your favorite song on it?
My favorite song to like bop to is "Welcome to the Internet," like everyone else, because it's great. It's a great song. Love that. It shows the internet so well. But like again, possible ending song / goodbye, dude. The ending of that just hurts, and I quoted so many lines from it because that's just like you know, I told you I could take each line and dissect what it means to me, like, and I hate sounding like the kind of like angsty like. I relate to Bo Burnham's content so much because like I get that there are people who are like that, but just that special hurt so much.
I don't think there's anything wrong with relating to a piece of media. I gotta be honest with you.
Well, I know, but you know, there's the cringy 14-year-olds who are like, you just wouldn't get it. No, like, no, I think people get it. I think people understand, and that's why he put it out there. You know, was for people to understand.
Right. Like the only thing that like there's a difference between relating to it and using your like how you relate to it to like separate yourself from others as being better in some way, you know?
Yeah. No. I just it was a really insightful special that I really just think like, especially coming from a place where I've spent my entire life for the past 9 months making jokes and making a musical about something from the internet, like hearing him talk about the internet and the way that we interact with it, like it's just been, I don't know, it's just been super insightful and has made me think a lot about where I am and what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Right. Oh, okay. Let's see. I feel like I had something else I wanted to ask, but now it's escaping me once again. Shoot, why am I like this? Yeah, I know what I wanted to ask. What are some of your like just favorite pieces of media and art in general?
Oof. Well, I mean, growing up wise, I was a big Pixar kid. I loved Pixar, and I love the way that Pixar can make funny movies while still showing a core message, and it's something that like when I move to original work, I really want to show. You know, is that like it doesn't have to I'm gonna shit on some Pixar movies. Soul, great movie. Not funny at all. You know, like I don't want to make movies like Soul, but I also don't want to make movies that are just funny with no heart, you know? Like Monsters Inc. was a movie that I grew up on and that I loved and that my parents loved, and we still quote it to this day, and I don't think I've seen it in like 2 years, but we still know every line from that movie. And it just shows such a cute message and shows something really insightful, but it's still hysterical, you know? It's still really funny. Like modern days, I think that like Into the Spider-Verse is one of those pieces that like I will watch over and over again, you know? Just because again, it's funny, it's beautiful, and it just has such a simple message, but that just means and carries so much weight, you know? That like don't do it like I did it, do it like you. And I really like that, and I think that like lessons like that are really important to make accessible without making cheesy. You know, it's like when I was talking about earlier with advice, like you got to have the confidence in yourself. It's like we've all seen that in a stupid like after school PSA. But it genuinely is some of the best advice that just needs to be presented in a way that people will actually cognitively understand, you know, and relate to and feel.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good answer. Yeah, like I agree completely. Okay. I think this is a good time to start taking audience questions. Yeah, so chat, go ahead and ask any questions you've been saving, or like even if you have something you want to say that like is just a statement. I know a lot of you actually worked on the project yourself, so I wouldn't mind having Like, I wouldn't mind it if you guys just say things you think about the project, and I would be happy to just read them out, or have Ian read out anything that he thinks is notable.
I'm gonna comment on all of your things. I'm gonna make you feel shame. No, I'm joking. Is you're using vector more? You know the answer to that question. Go away.
Okay. Wait. Okay, let me ask the questions.
No, just that one. Just that one specifically. No more questions about vector.
No, what the heck? I'm curious. I'm a little bit curious now.
No.
Kind of want you to go on if you don't mind.
No.
No.
I
What's up
really
with Vector?
can't.
What's up with Vector?
I really think that if you want to hear about vector, I can hook you up with Maury, and you guys can sit down and talk about it. But that's not my area of expertise, nor is it.
All right, let's go, Maury. You're the next guest on the podcast. Hope you're ready. We're talking about Vector. Sorry, Ian, I gotta go. I have a more important guest to get to. we have things to discuss. Okay. How many frames is the musical?
That's a great question, and I can't answer.
I imagine a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know that our longest song is gonna be 1,000+ frames, and I know that as a fact. And that's a song called Down X3, and that song is by PSA. So if that gives you any, doesn't, I mean, it just means that there's a lot of frames, like a lot of frames.
Very exciting, very exciting.
Well, maybe one day when we have everything in, I'll count. I'll get out my calculator and I'll count, and I'll put it out on Twitter.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so best musical moment.
Ooh, best musical moment? Probably, this is hard because it's like I can't show it to you, so you just have to take my word for it. I think that the end of the song Last Move has this really, really strong ensemble bit where it repeats some motifs earlier in the show, and it really just like hits really hard because you hear everyone essentially like talking about Wilbur, and like, and I remember like being there and watching stuff, and I talked to friends who were there live, and it was just such a moment of dread, which was when Wilbur was trying to give up, you know. And I think that hearing the ensemble sing about that is just really powerful.
Okay. Interesting.
And
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I'm excited for people to see it.
Were you about to say something else?
No, I'm not. I was just thinking.
Okay. I forgot to actually read out people's names as I asked the questions. All right, well, I guess I'll just start doing it now. Medio Madeira asks, would you like to be besties officially? Shaun, how do you feel about being besties? Let's go, baby. Oh, yeah. Let's go, besties. I'm up for that. I like friends.
You should be besties with Medio. Medio is a good person to be besties with.
Sounds like it. Okay. All right. Chat is like 2% questions of 98% vector.
This is, if you say its name, it'll come back.
Do you have any ideas for projects if we become a production company after the musical? Luna asks.
So, I was thinking a lot about this, and my answer to that is I have loved making the musical. Do not get me wrong. It's been my life. It's been my passion, and I'm going to continue making it all the way through Act 2. But I would love to play a little bit more with short form content, like more cartoons where it's like 15 minutes, 15 to 20, and having it more be episodically as opposed to like trying to make a movie. Because I feel like that's just more that's more manageable for us. And I think that things like Infinity Train, which was a really short thing that ran on Cartoon Network. It was originally just something on their YouTube channel. Like, I would love to make stuff like that, or to make just little short films. I think, again, if we were to be a production company, it would be about learning and about that kind of stuff. So I'd love to also take suggestions and to hear from my production company, and not just me, but to hear from people and to give them the chance to have their idea or their song make a music video, have something brought to life for the first time.
Okay, that's awesome. Really cool to hear. I'm excited to see that. I hope it works out.
Me too.
Okay, chat. Favorite inside jokes within the final server, asked by Erzek.
Yeah.
Vector does not count. I will cry if you say it, they say.
Yeah, that I wouldn't say that anyway. I guess. Oh boy, I think. One of my favorite is probably just 73, which has been spammed, which is right there by media. But funny numbers like 69 and 420, right? You know, they're funny numbers. Another funny number is 73. And if you don't understand why that's funny, I can't help you. Like, you're just, like, you're not old enough and you'll get it later. But 73 it's a funny number. And I really, I've seen it blossom, and it's awful because I've heard it, it's become a genuine funny number to me. So I'll be out in public and someone will be like, oh, that's like 73 cents. And I'll be like, that's funny. And they're like, what? I'm like, 70. So you don't get it. It's okay. You'll get it. Like, so, that kind of stuff. I think that's a really good, an inside joke that I highly recommend that you take into your life. Because I did it, and I went to work, and I worked at a summer camp as a camp counselor. And I told all of my coworkers about it, and then they now find it to be a funny number. So kids would be like, I have 73 cents. And we're like, yeah, right. 73 cents.
73,
that kind of
let's go. Okay.
Yeah, it's a big 73 moment.
Okay. Anybody who's listening to this after it has been uploaded to YouTube, you can look in the description and you'll see the copy pasta that Ian is talking about that everybody's currently spamming in chat that you guys cannot see. And Ian, yeah. I'm going to just send that to you on Discord. Just ignore it. I need to have it somewhere, and I don't have like a doc open or anything. Okay. All right. Yeah, some really good questions in chat, like boat.
Yeah, that's a great question.
My legacy, good question.
Or something really, really important to me. You know.
Boats. Oh yeah. I'm a big boat guy myself.
That boat clutch that Dream did.
Oh yeah. That was me. I was that boat. That meant a lot to me.
You were the boat?
I was the boat.
Oh.
Little known piece of information about Shaun Saxum. I was the boat.
You were the boat. Okay, yeah.
I was the boat.
Love that.
Oh yeah. Okay, question from It's What's Up MKJ. Do you think the musical can go on Broadway?
You know, weirdly enough, there is a live theater trying to put a musical on the stage.
Bro, what?
Yeah. We haven't decided if we're gonna do it yet, but that is a
okay.
thing.
Go on. What? That's awesome.
It is awesome. One of our there's I didn't tell anyone about this apparently. There's a very nice person on our team who works with a theater who really would like to put L'Manberg's musical on their stage. But I'm not 100% sure if I want to yet. But if I do, that will be really cool, and I'll send everyone where it is, and you can go buy tickets and see it in person. How could I not tell you? I frankly forgot, but it slipped my mind that I should probably tell y'all that, so I didn't. But now you know. And yeah, it's really cool. I would love to. I'm still trying to figure it out, you know, because it was made to be animated, and and if it were to be put on the stage, then I would have to buy a plane ticket to go see it, because there's no way I'm putting my baby on a stage without watching, you know? So there's a lot more that goes into it that we'd have to talk about, especially since we want to copyright all the songs and stuff. So we'd figure it out.
Okay, so Dulce Mori asks, thoughts on accents? I don't know what that means, but I'm assuming maybe you do.
I do. So I'm regionally Southern, and I intentionally suppress my Southern accent so that people won't make fun of me. but I do enjoy making fun of other people's accents, and I mean that in a lighthearted, affectionate way. But like earlier today, we had maybe a 4-hour conversation where I just would say words and say, wait, how do y'all say this? And then they would say it, and then we would all make fun of each other. Like, that was what it was, you know? Like, L, our Wilbur voice actor, called the way that I say A's spicy. Because I don't say ah, I say eh, because I'm Southern. And who says bath? It's bath, alright? Like,
what? Okay, yeah, alright. Weird Southerner.
That's... Do you say bath? It's bath! What?
Bath? Oh, I thought you were saying ba like a sheep.
No. Like the A. Like
okay. Nobody says
like,
bath.
I don't say...
That's just not a word.
I don't say grass. I say grass.
Okay. No, it is kind of funny to call it the grass.
The grass?
Okay. DragonTail77 asks, how do you feel about having over 100 people working with you?
Oof. Well, I mean, humbled. Like, I never thought that people would want to work with me like that. I never really thought that I was... Like, I don't want to say I have low self-esteem, because I know that I'm talented, but, like, I didn't think that this would be something that people would want to do with me as their director. But, like, I've grown a lot of confidence because my crew just believes in me so much. And, like, having 167 people say that, like, they believe in you and trust you and would follow you in whatever you decide to do with what has become more than just my project. You know, like, the musical means as much to me as it does to them. And, like, I think that, you know, it humbles me that people want to be here and that they want to be a part of the family, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's really nice. Okay, chat. Anybody else have any more questions? Because I'd really like to ask some more stuff from you guys.
People Person 23 had a good one.
Oh, you kind of already asked that or answered that earlier when we were talking about it, but I can ask it again if you want me to.
I'm just saying. I'm just pointing out questions, man. I'm just
okay,
doing my job.
All right, I'll ask it again. Jeez. Okay, fine. Jeez, all right. Come on.
I'm just trying my best. Sorry.
I'm just pointing out questions. Yeah. Well, People Person 23 asks. Okay, no. People Person 23 asks, what was your reaction to having larger artists and music people join the project? Like Nedio and Spam Account.
Yeah. It's weird because it's like, at first I was super starstruck, you know, like, oh my god, it's PSA, oh my god. But like, I've kind of just come to realize that, like, they're not... They're just people, you know? Like, and that sounds dumb to have to say, but, like, we sometimes forget that, like, people who have large, followings are just people, you know? And I think that that's definitely been something that's been great to learn also, is that, like, it's... that, like, you gotta treat everyone the same, you know? Like, you would think that maybe that, like, giving people special treatment makes them feel better, when it really just makes them feel worse, you know? Like, if you want to be friends with someone, or if you want to talk to someone who you think is really cool, just treat them like a person, you know? Like, it makes them uncomfortable if you're like, oh my god, you're the coolest thing ever, do you want all this special treatment? You know, like, no one wants that, you know? It's been a great lesson to learn.
So, something that kind of just came up while we were talking to chat, randomly while we were having technical difficulties that are not in this recorded version. Hello, listeners, not who are with us live, by the way. So, what, like, content creators have shown some sort of interest or have acknowledged the musical, and, like, what's been the issue with all that? Not issue. What's the situation? I'm curious.
Captain Puffy is the big one. She watched our trailer live on stream and subscribed. I know that Ranboo has acknowledged our existence. He's seen the chats and he's called us cool. I know that Filza has seen and acknowledged our existence. And then Eret is a big one, where he watched Regret and Revel, which are my songs, live on stream, and got me a bunch of clout, frankly, which helped start the musical. And then Philza promoted us, told everyone to go watch our trailer and subscribe. Foolish and Jake, who's our casting director, had a long running thing where Jake would send donations and Foolish would respond to them about making his chat, like his Twitch chat. And Foolish replies to our tweets and stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah. I think it's been really cool because, like, Captain Puffy talked about it in our trailer, and if you haven't seen our trailer, you should go watch it. That one specifically talks a lot about the community, which really is, like I was saying with the NPC thing, it really is the community that makes Dream SMP so special. Like, that is what it's important. And really what brings everyone together and what makes it what it is. And so I wanted to focus on that for our first trailer, was the fact that we were giving the audience and the people the chance to experience Dream SMP for the first time all over again, maybe in better circumstances and in a different medium.
Okay, interesting. That is really, really cool. It's really cool to be acknowledged by the original creators of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's insane.
It is insane. It is. Okay. So MKJ asks, did you expect any of the CCs to ever acknowledge the musical?
I thought that I had faith that they would acknowledge us one day, because especially certain creators are more good about that kind of stuff than others. Like, I really want Wilbur to acknowledge us at one point, just because it's his story. Like, at the end of the day, it really is Wilbur's story that he really did orchestrate, and he makes music, so it'd be really cool to get his sort of stamp of approval on everything. But like, Eric's really active with the fans and stuff. I definitely thought that we would get support, and the goal is one day for them to maybe know us like they know Saddest. I doubt it, but that's the hope.
Okay. Cool. I really hope that happens eventually. I honestly don't think that the chance of it happening is really that low.
I mean, you gotta keep... I'd rather be pleasantly surprised than bitterly disappointed.
Right. That's fair.
Doodle, you have to ask a question. You can't just say Mr. Opinions.
Oh, yeah, I saw that question. I just chose not to answer it. Not to ask it. Alright, fine. Doodle asks, do ants have bones?
I think, don't they have, like, an exoskeleton? And they're invertebrate? But, like, they don't have, like, I don't know if they have bones.
Okay, that's enough of that question. Thank you very much for your answer.
That's my tea for you, man. Doodle's a producer.
Oh, bruh. Dang, really getting deep here on the Create Stuff podcast. Okay, yeah, looks like that's about all we have. So
yeah.
Well, I'll go ahead and just do a little outro real quick. Well, it was really great to interview you, Ian. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. It was super fun. This was really fun to record, and I'm happy it went for so long, honestly. This is the longest episode so far, for sure.
I've got a lot to say, man. I can talk.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's the one thing I can do.
I appreciate that. It makes it very easy on me. So, last question. What advice do you have for all of, like, the creators in chat, or people who are looking to create stuff on their own?
I really just... I guess the biggest thing is, like, and everyone says it, but I have two things, which is do what you love. Like, don't commit to doing something that you don't care about, Like, do it because you want to be doing it, and have the confidence that you're gonna get there. Like, don't be conceited, don't be an asshole. But, like, if you're not confident in yourself, literally no one will listen to you. Like, you gotta say, like, no, I do know that I can do this. Because if you put in the work, it can't happen.
Okay, good. That is some good advice. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the 5th episode of the Create Stuff podcast, Ian. I have been your host, Shaun Saxum, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Hey, thanks so much for watching the 5th episode of the Create Stuff podcast with Ian Has Opinions. I really hope you enjoyed. Remember to check out Ian Has Opinions on YouTube and the rest of the Lemanberg musical, at least what's out so far. And watch for it to actually come out. Links to the YouTube channel for both Ian and the Lemanberg musical are in the description. And if you enjoyed this episode of the Create Stuff podcast, you should really consider watching the other episodes. They're all on YouTube and the other podcast streaming platforms I mentioned earlier. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and most other major ones that I'm aware of. I'd like to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons and also my Twitch subscribers. Thank you so much to my patrons, Tonkatsu and Sammy Sue Support. I could not do it without you guys. A quick thank you also to all of my Twitch subscribers. Thank you to Trashy Inferno, Tonkatsu, Joao, Riptide, and Drift On By. Thank you guys all so much. Could not do this without you. It helps a ton. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.